I don't see Trevor having that moment. I think his ceiling is literally a B level quarterback, and Caleb is kind of looking like that trajectory, but it's early to tell. I'll
I think
admit that.
Caleb is too early to tell. I agree with that. But Trevor Lawrence, we've had years of seeing what he is. 20 and 32 record, 20 and 33 record now with Jacksonville. I don't think B level is the ceiling no matter what coach he gets. Certain things you just can't coach for. Say that can't be said for Caleb just yet, obviously. But everything else, yeah, certain quarterbacks, sometimes it's just a fit. Like you said with Baker, same thing with Sam Darnold. Sometimes it's a fit, sometimes it's a coach. Only
Yeah.
time will tell. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of feel that way about Bryce Young a little bit. Like, hey man, let's calm down on the like this is football at the end of the day. Either you can play or you can't play. Like we're not about to throw a pity party just because you had a bad couple of years and the backup comes in and does better than what you did. Now I am rooting for Bryce Young, obviously, but at the end of the day, this is football. Either you can or you can't. And that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
gonna kick things off with for today because that is week 4 as we get into these predictions. The Bengals play the Panthers this week. Who do you got in that game?
I got the Panthers.
I think you had the Panthers last week against the
Did
Raiders, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I trusted Antonio Pierce, and by the way, his reaction was to that game. Yeah, I think I made the right decision, but I don't think that they had enough tape on Dalton with the Panthers to actually properly put together a game plan.
Yeah, I know. I like his comment about guys making business decisions and that he was going to make some business decisions.
Yeah, he
I
was
like that.
serious.
I like that kind of coaching.
No, he
I
was
don't care how
serious.
much you get paid. I will bench you. All right.
He was serious.
If the guy making 800K is ready to go, that's who's going to go out there. I appreciate that from him.
Yeah, I'll take the Bengals in that game. I think this is a must-win game for Cincinnati. I would expect that, offense wins games, defense wins championships. So I think Burrow, it's about time for him to start winning some of these games because his team needs him. He's showing up in a lot of these games, but
Yeah,
he's
they
gonna have
ultimately
to
they should win. They should win,
he's
but
gonna have to put together a performance though. Like that Bengals defense is soft.
atrocious.
you know. So I think this
Atrocious.
is must win for them. Did you have
It's,
anything else you wanted to say on that?
nope.
I'll move on to the Saints Falcons. Now, look, we said this last week, bro. We said we're not sure which team is gonna fall off, but based on last week, the NFC South is all looking the same. I mean, the Bucks lost, the Falcons lost, and the Saints lost. Who do
Yeah,
you
the
got in that
Falcons
one?
played Kansas City though. So
So you don't think the Eagles are
the
real comp?
Eagles.
You don't think the Eagles are real comp?
Nah, the Falcons played Kansas City, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm talking about the Saints.
Oh, yeah, the Eagles are real comp.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. But to go, I don't know, it's weird. Like, how bad is Dallas, right? Because the way you guys did them, kind of you you gave them some respect for that, right? But if Dallas is actually really bad, then I don't know. Because right now it doesn't look like Dallas is going to make the playoffs, quite honestly, right? So I question some things with the Saints. Now, the Falcons, to me, I got the Falcons in this game. Kirk Cousins looks better each and every week. Bijan, I mean, up and down, they just have a lot of things. And I got faith in Kirk, man. I
Yeah.
think this is going to be a week by week thing for Atlanta. And I think week by week, you're going to see closer and closer to Vikings Kirk, right? And I think towards the end of the year, because I don't know, man, something about Kirk, even on that Monday night game, he didn't look like the Kirk that used to lose those. He looked like the Kurt that like I've been here and I can do this. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know. It just looked different. I get they're 1-2, but it's something about Kirk Cousins right now, and maybe it's because he got that guy behind him.
Who?
Maybe it's because Michael Penix. Maybe because you got Michael Penix sitting right there. Kurt, like, hey, I'm not going to get too risky out here. I don't know, but he looks really good, and that team does look really good. I don't know. The way Alvin Kamara was completely shut down and things went sideways. See, things haven't really gone sideways for Atlanta. You know, they just didn't come out with the win. Things went sideways for the Saints. Derek Carr turned it. I mean, all of a sudden it's like, oh, what's his numbers under pressure? Like, it's like, oh, all those blowouts were with no pressure. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Now all that's being pointed out. So
Yeah.
I like to see what Atlanta does defensively to them, but offensively, I think they're going to be good. So I'm going to go with Atlanta in that game.
First, to answer your point about Dallas, we talked about this in the offseason and we said it last week. Their only offensive playmaker is CeeDee Lamb. I mean, people are now just realizing that, but their only offensive playmaker is CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, him and Dak have a great connection, but everything else for Dallas is not looking good.
I don't.
And let's not forget too, Dak Prescott, they're in the same division as the Giants. 40% of his wins is against the Giants. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think to your point, Dallas has some holes. And it sucks to see Dallas. I mean, it doesn't suck to see Dallas in that position, but it's kind of mind blowing a little bit to see Dallas in that position where you're really asking yourself, can they make the playoffs? The Saints put up 40 against Dallas and they put up 40 against the Panthers with Bryce Young as their quarterback
yeah,
before Andy Dalton. So I do, to your point, it's the same thing we said last week. I don't know about Derek Carr enough. Will he actually, withstand the whole season, or will he start to kind of go backwards? And that's not a shot against the Eagles in any way, because Jalen Hurts put on a performance. I mean, he didn't focus on what he didn't have. He focused on what he did have. Saquon had a great game, over 140 yards. Same thing with their tight end Goddard, I believe, 10 receptions for like a buck 70, something like
yeah,
that. Career day for him. So I'll take the Falcons in this game. To your point, I do agree with you. Kirk Cousins does look settled, you know,
yeah,
on the Falcons. He does look settled. And that loss, man, I touched this in unwarranted losses, which you can find on Rueblur, was, the eight drives, two red zone drives, 8 plays, 0 points. Had you scored field goals, you only lost by 5. The game could have been yours. So, and again, a week before that against the Eagles, carved them up last minute and a half, no timeouts. So to your point, I do, and you trust Kirk more than Derek Carr.
I
He has
do.
targets, Bijan Robinson, Drake London. I think that game got away from them because they just tried to be a little bit too fancy, and that can happen in the NFL. But to your point, yeah, I got the Falcons in that one too as well.
Yeah,
Jaguars, Texans. I mean, I think this goes without saying. Texans on three, 1, 2, 3, Texans.
Texans. Yeah,
Like
I'm gonna
I
definitely
don't.
take Texans, but I have listen. If this game is close, that only tells me that the Texans are not okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
just want to point that out.
And we didn't do a week 3 reaction, so we didn't get a chance to really talk about the Texans lost to the Vikings last week, 24-7 or 30 something to 7.
Murder, murder. Yeah,
I don't know if that game says more about the Vikings defense
crime.
or you know. Now
And
Brian
it's about the
Flores,
Texans. Come on, man. I think I'm actually good at this. I really do. I really
yeah.
do because I said to you that the Texans felt iffy, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm really about comparing who played who and how you played who,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And everybody kind of like it's like people put stock in Cleveland at first, but
Yeah.
now ain't no stock there. So if you beat Cleveland, it's not looking like you somebody. So
Hmm.
Dallas, all we know is you beat Cleveland. You beat the Giants. I don't really that don't tell me nothing.
You
You,
survived the Giants.
you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And now Houston, I think Chicago is bad. And you barely got out of there. Anthony Richardson put up more points than you. And I don't think he compares to CJ Stroud.
Hmm.
So I think Houston, now that teams are kind of like onto you, and you brought in Diggs. Hey, I feel like they'll figure it out. But right
Hmm.
now, that team is not actually playing their best football at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take them in that game.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not too close because if it is, that's just kind of telling me like, yeah, the big games on your schedule are going to be L's.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take the Texans in that game too as well. My only thing with them losing to the Vikings, Brian Flores to me is in that top five category of defensive coordinators in the league. You saw what he did against the 49ers the week previous, made them look uncomfortable, made them look out of their character, beat them. And to see again what he did to the Texans, he has a knack for making these good quarterbacks, some would say great quarterbacks, look out of character and make their offense stall. So I want to give credit to the Vikings first, but then to your point, the Texans, it's a little shaky. It's a
We'll
little
see.
shaky.
We'll
But I
see.
got them against the Jaguars, and I think, and I will say this, to any Jacksonville fans, every game is a must win if you think Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback of the future. Like every game this season was a must win. He's lost the first three.
All I'm
I
saying is they got Mac Jones on the bench.
Look, man, it's I know people in Jacksonville are scratching their head right now, but Trevor Lawrence, stay low, keep firing. I move on to the Broncos Jets. This one's interesting.
Hmm.
Who you got?
I'm definitely taking the Jets.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. Bo Nix is still a rookie. That's a really good defense. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes in that game. I don't think
mm,
it's a high scoring affair. It's probably a boring game, you know, 19-10 type
yeah.
thing. So, yeah, I'll take the Jets.
Yeah. I'll take the Broncos. I had a prediction in the offseason. I said Bo Nix plus Sean Payton equals Drew Brees 2.0. We'll see what he does in this game. I think Sean Payton is definitely well experienced in dealing with good defensive teams. So I think if the play calls are just right, Bo Nix should be able to pull this one off. Not a clean game though for him. I think he'll definitely have a pick, and this will kind of show you if he's up and down or if he's really settled as an NFL rookie.
Yeah, yeah.
For this next game, the Vikings versus the Packers. Now I was gonna do an NFC North alert for this game. I was gonna do an NFC North alert because both of these teams, I believe Jordan Love came back to practice. So I believe he's looking to start against the Vikings.
Yeah,
Now, Matt LaFleur, Brian Flores, Kevin O'Connell. I think this game will be a strategic game for sure, and it'll show you where both offenses are at, and it'll show you if the Packers are really like that. Because the Vikings defense, I know we touched this in the Texans, but uh, their free safety, Harrison Smith, Stephon Gilmore, Van Ginkel, they got a couple people on the D line. Justin Jefferson, I'm expecting them to kind of keep rolling. Now, Matt LaFleur is a great strategist. I believe he can scheme any team to death, as he's shown in previous time. But this is a where is the NFC North at right now, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah. Because
also,
we know Chicago's bad,
but I would like to see
and
the Vikings lose in this one. I'll take the Packers just because that means the Vikings will be 3-1, which would be
yeah,
nice.
but yeah, I have no fear of the Vikings,
Mm,
right? So I'm actually taking the Vikings in this game. I'm still more scared of Green Bay, because at the end of the day, you guys are putting Sam Darnold out there. I don't care what you say. I saw him slightly go back to what he was. Like it was
facts.
certain plays. I'm like, oh, that's that
That's
New
Sam
York,
Darnold.
that's that New York Jet stuff.
I think he threw a
So,
lateral. I think he threw a
yeah, bro,
lateral.
that's what I mean. Like
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Beat like you will never B level as high as you're going to go. At your best day, you're a B level quarterback, right?
yeah,
So I'm actually going to go with the Vikings. I would love for the Packers to get an L in their divisional record right now,
mm,
especially because they're winning games with Malik Willis. So it's like, man, I really expected some L's on your record throughout, through this. So just to
yeah,
see, and because then that makes me more worried about Matt LaFleur. I'm like, man, you're really good at your job.
yeah,
It
yeah,
makes me a little jealous. It makes me a little jealous because I'm like, we got Ben Johnson, but because he's a coordinator that this ain't like a fairy tale like we want it to be.
yeah.
I don't want to be the Eagles in 2 years, right?
Facts.
We didn't have to flip through four different coordinators because we're trying to bring back what we had,
Yeah,
right? Because our coordinator that had it going left,
yeah,
you know? But I don't want to get rid of Campbell either. It's like when you're building an archetype on NCAA, what kind of coach you're going to be. You
Mm,
know, Campbell to me is a program builder,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
he might not be the best coordinator, but he can actually build a foundation for your team to actually go off of. You know,
absolutely.
so I think we have a program building in the coach, right? But we have to trust that the ownership and GM is going to continue to bring in, smart people at the coordinator positions.
Yeah.
So,
He's a
uh,
culture setter. He's a
yeah,
culture setter, and to your point, it makes you obviously in the years we got him, we needed him for what he had, but it makes you ask the question that every team has to ask eventually. Is that coach more important than the prodigy coordinator that you
yeah.
have?
I
You
mean, the
know,
best example I can give is Harbaugh,
hmm
right? One, they're both program builders, both
yeah,
Harbaughs, right? Neither one can really take over the coordinator spot, right? But both can take over big decision making. And that's where
yeah,
Campbell got to touch up his choices, big
absolutely.
decision making. If you're going to be a program builder, you got to be good at those big decisions. But I'll take the Vikings in that matchup.
Yeah, I got the Packers, and we'll touch the Lions later. Steelers, Colts. I got the
Yeah.
Steelers. Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
Steelers in this one. Mind you, I don't believe Russell is starting this week either again. And
Nah.
I just saw a post
You
earlier.
can. You can't put them in now.
I just saw a post earlier, man, that said, how does a guy go from being a Super Bowl, Super Bowl in the Super Bowl quarterback to being on the bench and
Right
dangerous?
choices. Choices. He chose the Steelers, and they also chose, and they did choose you, but then Justin Fields became available. So,
Yeah,
you probably weren't necessary. And what's best for them as a coach, you got to make a choice what's best for you. We have a lot more years we can get out of Justin Fields than we can,
facts. And
you know.
athleticism.
But I don't think Russ is a bench player whatsoever. You got to remember he's only on a 1 year rental. So there's a lot of teams that look real bad right now that aren't bad teams. They will be in a Russell Wilson market for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think the Raiders are a bad team. I think the Raiders are a good team. I think a good quarterback can make that thing look a lot different, you
yeah.
know? And I think Russ will like 2 games against the Broncos, you
Mm,
know,
mm,
and 2 against Mahomes. He likes playing Mahomes for some reason.
mm,
So,
mm.
there's also, I mean, the Giants. They can let go of Daniel Jones after this year. Malik Neighbors looks like he needs somebody who can throw a rainbow ball, you know?
Mm.
Like I said, I'm not worried about Russ. I think he has 2, 3 more years. Especially, look, he's on the bench right now. So one thing he's not doing is getting hurt. You know, sometimes remember when Brian had that break before the bubble?
Mm,
Hey, Russ getting the break right now. That might, you know what I'm saying? He might step back out there and be different.
mm. One
Yeah.
thing you said was true. He's not getting any younger, and Justin Fields
I
is
am taking the
definitely
Steelers in that game.
yeah, Justin Fields is definitely more athletic than him too. And I think it goes to show you ultimately where Justin Fields' ceiling really was on the Bears. Again, a defensive coach, but he still won them 7 games. I think if anybody can win you 7 games as a Bears quarterback, respect should be put on their names. And now he's with the Steelers, a great organization that's well run. Mike Tomlin is the coach, so you know you're always going to be in the game. And now you got a quarterback that can actually finish games. I'll take the Steelers in that one. Next, the Rams versus the Bears. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think when it comes to the Rams, last week showed you who they really were. Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford can pull a game out if need be against just about any team. And not to mention the Rams are only getting healthier as the year goes along, and they're going up against the Bears. I don't think they should have any problem. Not to mention Stafford is from the NFC North, so he has a game tape on the Bears. I got the Rams in this one.
Yeah. Well, clearly the NFC, well, that division is clearly playing our division. So we must have a game because we play the Cardinals, the Rams, and Seahawks next, and then 49ers soon. So we play that division. That's another telltale of like where your division stands, how we each look versus these teams. So I think I was definitely a game I'll be checking out to see how the Bears look versus the Rams. to see compare that to how we look versus the Rams, even though the Rams had more people when they played us. So I'm also considering that. But I definitely expect the Rams to win the game. I just don't think the Bears are good. I'm barely counting 3 wins for them right now. I'm surprised they got one. They actually who they beat again?
The Bears,
Bears?
they
Yeah.
didn't beat anybody. The Titans
No,
gave them
no,
a
no.
game.
They won week one. The
The
defense
Titans gave
played.
them a game.
The Titans. Come on. Like,
Okay. I'm gonna
Jared
go on
Goff.
to the Eagles and the Buccaneers. I think enough can be said about the Buccaneers. I believe they believe in themselves. But one thing I will say, I texted you this earlier. I'm like, when it comes to Jared Goff throwing 55 times against the Buccaneers, I believe as a Lions fan, eventually he was gonna have to, when it comes to the playoffs, eventually he'll have to win us a game. He might have to throw 50 times, 45 times, might be a shootout, somebody might stop the run game. And I believe that was us testing that out against the Buccaneers. And I could be wrong, but I believe that was them testing it out. And the fact that game was still close, and the next week the Bucks get picked apart by Bo Nix. I'll take the Eagles in this one. I trust the Eagles' consistency. I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, yeah. It's Eagles Bucks, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I'm personally gonna take the Bucks.
You
Uh,
should, Baker
that's
fan.
that, that's a heart over mind. My mind is definitely saying Eagles, but my heart is saying Baker comeback game. So I'm gonna take them. I would not bet on that game, but I'm definitely going to take them, the Bucks over the Eagles.
Shouldn't have to spend too much time on his next one. 49ers, Patriots. Patriots versus 49ers. I got the 49ers in that one. I don't think the
Yeah, same.
Patriots can withstand offensively what the 49ers is going to do to them. So
You didn't even have to say it.
Commanders versus the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals,
You think so?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray is better than Joe Burrow.
I'll take the Commanders in that one. I'll take the Commanders. I like Jaden Daniels.
No remark to that.
To what?
I just said Kyler Murray is better than Joe Burrow.
Well, to each his own. To each his own. But yeah, I think when it comes to the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, what I saw him doing and what he did against the Bengals was great and showing like 91% accuracy. I believe he's the only rookie to have that number, broke the NFL record if I'm not mistaken. What did he get against the trash Bengals defense? It wasn't his first time showing up that way. It was just his first time having that spectacular of a performance. But his weeks previous to this were decent. So I believe he'll stay on track.
Yeah, what that game showed me was the Commanders' defense is also trash, right? So
Man,
that's why I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been. I think their defense is actually solid. It's not trash. I'm pretty sure Baker is still playing. Buda Baker. I'm not sure if because I know he got a little hurt, rung up in the Lions game, but I think
he's a
he's playing.
warrior.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that defense is actually solid, and your defense is not in the Commanders. So yeah, I'm taking Kyler all day in that one. I think the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs this year. Like,
I
I got
respect it.
some hope for them.
I respect it. Chiefs, Chargers.
Mm,
I'll
mm.
take the Chiefs in this one. I know the Chiefs are definitely due for a loss at some point. Mahomes isn't playing up to his standard, but given the things that's going on in that team, you can see why Travis Kelce saving himself for the playoffs. So, however, though, I think when it comes to the Chargers, I just believe Steve Spagnuolo is obviously number one in the league as a defensive coordinator, and the Chargers will see why in that game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going with the Chargers. Yeah,
I
I'm taking
respect it.
the Chargers. I think the Chargers will win one, lose one. Where is this game at?
In LA, Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers. Yeah, definitely taking the Chargers. I think they'll lose the next one for sure. But
Mhm.
the Chiefs are more than due a loss. I mean, their wins right now are just at this point they're getting like the Patriot Brady treatment. You know, if
Yeah,
it's close, we're throwing a flag for you.
yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Now, I respect it. I'm gonna skip over the Browns, Raiders, and the Titans, Dolphins. Those games are just not interesting. Bills, Ravens. I
Yeah,
got the Bills. I know you
yeah.
got the Ravens.
Okay, I mean, that's nice for you picking the Bills. I am very high on Josh Allen right now, but Josh Allen is not the second best quarterback in the league. He's the third,
Mm,
and Joe Burrow is slowly falling down. We need to do a QB ranking because Joe Burrow is like an eight for me right now. But
yeah.
yeah, Allen's third. You know who is second? Lamar Jermaine Jackson. I don't know if that's his middle name, but it flows. So I got Lamar. All right.
Mm,
They had a big comeback win. Just come back from being, losing
down
their
the
first
shift.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and it was Dallas. But once again, you let them back in that game. I didn't like that. But Lamar saved the day still. Yeah, this team is looking desperate. This Ravens team is not last year's team. This team is very Lamar reliant, you know, and that's okay because he's proven that they're going to win a lot of games even when they're Lamar reliant, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trusting in that. And Derrick Henry, dear God, he should not be playing with Lamar. That's an unfair thing for the league. I mean, what they were doing to Dallas, it got to a point like I don't like coaches. I don't like coaches, having what do they call it, sportsmanship, right? Forget
Hmm.
sportsmanship. You because you had sportsmanship, you let Dallas back in the game,
Hmm.
right? You take away that should have been, oh, they scored 19 in the fourth, but we scored 20 because we kept running it down their throat. And we kept, you know what I'm saying? Like you became like, let's just play keep away, you know?
Yeah.
And plus they got an onside kick, which is crazy fluky in the first place. But we're not gonna worry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, I got Ravens all day. I'm
Yeah. I
not I'm not
think.
crazy about it. I'm not crazy about it, but I got the Ravens.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think that's kind of what separates Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen right now. That you see that the Ravens are Lamar reliant, or every time they've been Lamar reliant, it hasn't really gotten them far. I think it's the polar opposite when it comes to Josh Allen. Without Stephon Diggs there, now all of a sudden he looks like he can, win these games by himself. But that's basically what he's been doing his whole career, relatively. That's why Stephon Diggs might have an issue with him. And not to mention, if we talk about playoff stats, I mean, Josh Allen is 21-4 in terms of touchdown to interception ratio in the playoffs. I believe he has 2,700 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he has 2,700 yards, and he's been in 10 playoff games. Now he can't get past the Chiefs, but that's why he's number two at quarterback. Now a lot of quarterbacks have gotten past Patrick Mahomes. So I do believe Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league. However, I think it's a close second. I don't want to disrespect Lamar in any way, shape, or form. A couple of times he was injured. That's not his fault. It is what it is. However, I do have him as number two quarterback in the league. And I do got him winning this game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a nail biter. But I do have Josh Allen winning this one. Guys, I'm a perfectionist, and I personally believe in one of the things you should always care the most about is what you put into your body, which is why when I need a midday boost, I don't drink any energy drink. I drink excess energy drink. Why? Because there's nothing like a clean vitamin B12 energy boost in the middle of the day with zero sugar. You want to know why? Because when you take away the sugar, you get zero crash, which means you can keep winning all day. So guys, crack the seal on one of their many flavors and keep winning.
Before I get to the Seahawks game, I want to say something to what you said before, which
Okay.
was we may need Jared Goff to throw 55 times to win us a playoff game, basically.
No, no, I was saying to put it in reference, he may have to win us a game. The running play may stall against a team that has a good defensive line. I mean, you can only be so predictable for so long before somebody figures out a method to stop you. And I believe that's what the Lions' biggest weakness is if somebody can stop the run game or make it stall and put the ball in Jared Goff's hand, which isn't a bad game plan to beat us. However, Jared Goff has proven as long as you can give him time, he can dice somebody up. So I was saying in the playoffs, future reference, he may have to win us a game. I didn't mean he may have to throw
Yeah.
55 times, but in the first quarter, if there's, Gibbs and Montgomery are both averaging 2 to 3 yards a carry, he may have
Okay.
to.
Okay, then we're really in agreement, because it was the 55 that was like I don't think we're gonna win any game when he throws 55 times.
Mhm.
Right? And I don't think you can stop our run. I think you may be able to stop the inside run, but at the end of the day, we can go inside or out. No one's out here specializing in inside pressure and outside pressure and second level pressure. They're just
Hmm.
not. No, there's no perfect team that has all that, right? So no matter what, we should be able to either kill you with David Montgomery or we should be able to kill you with Gibbs, right? We have
Right.
our inside guy, we have our outside guy. On top of they're both pretty decent. Gibbs a little bit better at catching it in the short field and still getting first downs, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason you should be stopping our running back game, right? And because that's not just rushing, I consider those short little 2 yard passes to the running back no different than a toss. You know what I'm saying? Like you really just tossing him the ball at that point. That's a toss to me. So I look at those like running plays, right? There's
Okay.
no team that should be shutting that down. If that's being shut down, Ben Johnson's not picking the right ones to go against that defense. You know, Jared Goff, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like I don't think there's no way we win any game when he throws 55 times. I think Goff only is Goff when he can have a running game around him. The second I feel as though we get relying on his arm is when things will go downhill for us. His arm kind of has to almost be a surprise shot, you know, like kind of how sometimes we surprise people and running on 3rd and 14, right? And we still get a first down. No different than, oh, you thought we was about to run it on first down, but we play action deep balled you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's to me when golf is cooking, when we keeping you on your heels in anticipation of you don't know which one is coming now, you know? And because you don't know which one, you're gonna try to stop the one that hurts you the most, which is the run. So now golf is gonna eat off of you, because now you're bringing your guys in. Our guys get to cook because we do have good receivers and everything else. So, but to the Lions Seahawks,
Well, to
that
your
game,
point, I think that it can be, I think to say it'll be a surprise shot, I mean, that's kind of along the lines of what I am saying. It's under
yeah,
the
yeah, I said that
predication that
first.
it's
That
under
I feel like
the,
we
well, hold
were
on, because I'm
agreeing.
going to touch something else. It's under the predication that a team can actually shut down the run, which isn't impossible. There's a lot of teams with a lot of good defensive lines that can put together the right play call. As a matter of fact, you saw it last year in the Thanksgiving game with the Packers, and a lot of the games in which a close score or whatever turns into a loss for the Lions is usually behind hey, we were able to stop the running enough to limit the Lions offense, right? If we run twice on first and second down and we only pick up 2 yards, then that's a 3rd and long. And yeah, maybe Goff completes the pass, but it's short, and how many times does that happen over a game? And how many times does that non-conversion turn into points for the other team? It's a chess battle. I do want to remind you, however, though, that a surprise shot from Jared Goff can stop one of the best defenses in the league. And we saw it when Patrick Mahomes and him clashed in the Monday Night Football game, which some people would say is arguably the best Monday Night Football game they've ever seen. Personally, it's the best Monday Night Football game that I've ever seen. In my history of watching the league, both teams combined for I believe over 100 points. It was like 54-51, with the Rams winning, and Jared Goff went 31 for 49, passer rating of 117, not outbeat, but outplayed Mahomes in that game. If I'm not mistaken, and had no interceptions in that game. So is it possible? Absolutely. Are you I'm saying I would expect it in the playoffs.
Right,
If somebody is going to come up with some sort of scheme to limit the run game and make Jared Goff beat them, that's just football. At some point, some team, especially in the playoffs, will look at what are the biggest strengths for the Lions? How do we limit that? And in that game, you will see what I believe to be, if the Lions do pull that game out, is a Jared Goff led game. That's what I'm saying. And I believe in that Bucks game last week, or the week before last, that was hey, let's test this out. Let's test this theory out against a team we might have to play in the playoffs, which was the Bucks. 2 weeks into the season, yeah, maybe it's not the best showing. However, 55 pass attempts again is absurd. Even in that Monday night game, he only had 49.
right,
But still, you may have to have that in your arsenal, is what I'm saying. So I believe in that Bucks game, that was them not even necessarily seeing if they had it in their arsenal, but just almost choreographing what that game could look like. I believe Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are smart enough to know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and they would like to show teams that, hey, we don't have our weakness is not what you may think it is. That's my point to the Jared Goff thing. But I think we're in agreement though. Like it's not something I expect them to just pull out of the bag. Like, hey, we're gonna have this game be Jared Goff led. But just in case it comes up in the playoffs, we're ready for it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think they'll be ready for it though. So, yeah, I think we have to be who we are, no matter what. You know, I don't think we're a Goff throws us into a victory type of team. You know,
Well, let's just look at the
and
Bucks
and
game.
that's how Goff got to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Behind that play action. You know, I think like 70% of what Goff throws should come after play action. He should not have like over half his throws be out of like straight shotgun. You know, it should come out of play action. You know, it should be a healthy amount of behind the center. You know what I'm saying? Like a good mix, a good mix, right? Because I feel like, because I want them to win. So I picture Goff in his best. And in his best, when he was toe to toe with Mahomes, it was still like we may hand this off because Gurley was cooking in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, hey, you scored now, we got to go score now. If we take, time to score with this run, we gonna score,
Cooking is an
right?
overstatement. He had 12
You
carries for 55 yards.
look, he was still effective. You know what I'm saying? He was still effective. And what was his receiving yards? Because like, hey, I felt like he was still effective.
It wasn't much. It was three receptions.
3 receptions.
Yeah, it was Goff versus Mahomes. That was the
Yeah.
game.
Hey, man, look, Goff only done that once. All right. Goff's only done that once. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying we can't rely on those kind of performances.
No,
You
I
know,
agree with you.
he needs to have that healthy balance, right? Because
I
if we're
agree
gonna
with you.
actually win the key games in the playoffs, I believe it's gonna come behind a healthy balance. If we end up winning and this guy ended up throwing 50 balls, I'm gonna be happy. Don't get me wrong. I only want us to win, you know.
But you don't
Um,
expect it. Like you're not
I
ex
don't expect it that way, so I don't think they should ever outthink themselves, which I'm kind of noticing with this coaching staff. This is really a coaching staff point, right?
hmm
Because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that are like giving it to him. You're calling what you're calling. You're making choices, and he's going out there and he's going to try and deliver on what you were choosing, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like, hey, we shouldn't open up drives with 3 passes at any point when we have two of the best backs in the league in the league.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with your point. I think to that point, that's the confidence that Dan Campbell has instilled in the Lions, that Jared Goff is the quarterback, and if need be, he can pull out some victories. Now, I'm not saying that's delusional, but I am saying that's Dan Campbell's like viewpoint. Like you listen to him after the games, even games that we lost or Jared Goff didn't convert on fourth down. Hey, it's my fault. You know what I mean? And Jared Goff, what does he do? I'm put here to deliver on those plays. However, that combination after what happened with the Rams, with him being the scapegoat to Sean McVay's career, you can now
Yeah,
look and see like, that's what makes him, that's why he hasn't lost his confidence as a quarterback.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
to your point though, and we said this after they lost to the Bucks, like you have two of the best backs in the league. You're absolutely right. On 3 downs, you should be looking to run it 2 times out of the three. And knowing Dan Campbell, that's 2 times out of the four. Hell, 3 times out of the four, you know which is why they're there. And to your point again, that's what makes the Lions offense so dangerous. That's what makes them gritty. Is
that's
we'll
what
run
I'm
the
saying.
ball and we'll keep running the
Yeah,
ball. And what that does is set up golf behind the play action. The offensive line is good. It's great. Behind Panay Sewell, Glasgow, Ragno, like it's a great offensive line. You set him up behind that and behind the run game that's going. He can pick apart he's already proved he could pick apart just about 31 teams in the league given time.
Manny, I'll end it with this. We hoop, right? If
Okay.
I go right 10 times in a row,
you're naturally, when I flinch right, you are going to jump so hard right because it's an anticipation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And now all of a sudden I'm going left. So then you adjust, you go left, I score, but now it's whoa, I didn't even know you could go. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't like, you put
It's
that
chess play.
confusion. It's chess, man.
And
Like,
here's where the Lions stumbled in the past and where they really stumble in any game that they lose is when, as much as it is chess play, it has to be set up behind it working. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna expect you to go right every time. Like I'm not gonna have to think hard about it. If I have you guys down by 7,
but
hey, send this to the right. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
they go left, hey, they pick up 10, 12 yards, it is what it is. But you see the Lions in again in the championship game last year, or even against the Bucks in week 2. Once they get predictable, they fall apart as an offense. You know what I mean?
yeah,
However, this is the point. Before we end it on this, I believe you got the Lions beating the Seahawks, right?
I do. I
All
do. I
right,
got the Lions.
same here. The defense is really what I want to focus on a little bit. Like, and not enough credit is going around. They've held every team to 20 points and under. Yeah, the 49ers defense, oh, it's great. Bosa, Warner. Yeah, the Rams put up 27 on them and won the game. They put up 20 against the Lions. And hell, they barely got to 20.
Barely.
And that's week 1. Kyler Murray, oh my God, this is his year. Marvin Harrison, 100 plus yards in the first quarter. Yeah, look at what he did against the Lions.
Look at what he did against Terry and Arnold.
And again, even to Terry and Arnold's point, I say the same thing every week. Somebody please get this man a playbook, a rule book on how to guard corners in the NFL. One thing I'm not saying, he's not losing his confidence.
Yeah.
He's you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
not most penalized, but he's not losing his confidence. And every play after the play that he gets penalized on, he's right there. And even on his play
I'm
action,
recording the podcast right now.
even on his pass interference calls,
Okay.
even on his pass interference calls, is like he's still there. Hey, look, after last season, if you're telling me that pass to Ayuk that bounces off Victor's head is a pass
Yeah.
interference play and it's not a touchdown, hey, I'll take it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I want to bring up that. And obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, I believe, he said he's going for the sack record this year. I forgot how many sacks it is in the season you got to have to break the record, but he said he's going for it. He got a sack in last week's game, and obviously he had 4.5 in the game before that. But just his defense, our corners, yeah, they're not great. Like they'll give up chunk plays, but they're doing
Hey,
better than last year.
and man, Aiden was like fifth in like possible or fourth or fifth in possible defensive player of the year.
I think
You
he'll get it
know,
if he stays on
and
pace.
honestly, bro, I remember exactly what was said on him coming out because I thought we were getting a hell of a pick, right? Because
Yeah,
we all watched him. Like if live in Michigan, you watched him on Michigan,
yeah,
so we watched him like wreck offenses all year long that year in Michigan before he came out.
yeah.
And when he came out, they were like, "Yeah, but we think he's already at his ceiling," you know.
Mhm.
And but I didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? I saw a very hungry guy, right? And you
Mhm.
brought him, you know what I'm saying? You brought him from Ann Arbor to Detroit,
Yeah,
right? Like it's still two match made in heaven, you know.
yeah.
The only way this could get better is if we get Max Crosby on the other side,
Facts, facts.
Michigan guys. I love that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nah, Aiden's legit. Aiden is
Hmm.
legit. Terry and Arnold, I can't wait to see him by the end of the year,
Yeah.
right? When it starts to kind of come together for him. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like you're playing to me pretty well. Like everybody's like about the PIs. Like, hey man, at the end of the day,
You're there.
I kind of rather see those PIs than to see the guy mossing you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys remember how much of the last two guys we had, right?
Yeah.
You remember what Jeff
Bilford.
Okunanua, you know what I'm saying?
Bilford and
And then
Sutton.
and then Cam Sutton, like, come on, bro. Like all those would have been TDs. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Like Arnold's, hey, at least he's there, right? And
Facts.
I know you'll get better. You'll go from being there to being in the way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a way that don't come with a PI on top of it. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, bro. The defense, I think you're speaking just right on that. Like they're really showing up, and DJ Reader hasn't even played yet.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had so Aiden is expecting more sacks because he's gonna have Reader with him.
Yeah.
We haven't even got our run stuff for Reader,
Yeah.
right? So hey,
And you heard
let
it
let
here
it
first, folks. Big play Branch. I got a feeling that's what his nickname will be after
come
this
on.
season. Because he's only looking for big plays. And he almost had a pick in this last game, but Kirby Joseph got there at the same time, so the ball went out of bounds. And Kirby
But
Joseph got
Joseph be
one.
right there with Branch. I was
Yeah,
just gonna say that Joseph be right there with Branch.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been mad if you said big play Joseph. Like they both be
man.
there. They
Yeah,
both be there and they be pick hungry.
yeah,
You know, I don't want that to bite them at the wrong time, but they do be pick hungry. You know, they're
yeah,
going for that ball.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially because you gotta remember, guys on the team are getting paid. What
Facts.
does that tell the other guys? Hey, if I have a first team all pro year, they gonna cough it up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So guys are trying to get paid too, man. You know, what did Jameson say? I'm trying to get mine too. What he do week one? He
yeah.
looked like he wanted it, didn't he?
And to your point, again, touching back on the offense, man, to me, that's what makes this is why I think sometimes a loss can be beneficial, especially to a team like the Lions, where you guys have been to the NFC Championship last year. You kind of have an NFC Championship hangover. Your season doesn't start until the playoffs start, so it can affect how you play, scheme, and play call against certain teams. Would have JMO have the first 2 weeks that he had been the primary target, again, I don't know why that was, but I believe they sent the message to the league, and he's our number two guy. Don't even think we got a weakness there, which, is good, but relatively, please feed Brown and please feed Laporta. He's a little injured. Please feed Wright. Like tight ends, you know what that is when it comes to Lions.
Yeah.
But JMO being there, the chemistry they're able to craft right now, it's scary. It's very, very scary. Not to mention, and a play I wanted to touch on, man, and get your opinion on that hook and ladder.
So
Was that not Lions offense though?
but
Like you
no, was that not why Ben Johnson is going to be somebody's head coach?
man,
Like you know, when he do stuff like that, I get happy, but I get mad.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I get
yeah.
happy, but I get mad, bro. It's like, oh
Nothing good
my
lasts forever.
man. It's like, Chicago's probably sitting there right now, like, why didn't we just give that guy the 20 million a year? Like,
Man,
why didn't we? You know?
yeah,
Because Ben Johnson, like, hey man, like I'm just saying, if I was Genie Bus, I would sit down with that man and be like, listen, ain't nothing you gonna get as a coach that I won't give you right here.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I know I'm
yeah,
being real, bro. I would sit with him like, what do you want? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Under whether it's under the table, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna, bro. I'll put your family in all black Elades presidential editions,
yeah,
with bulletproof windows. All
yeah,
right. If you want a second family, I'll arrange that. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
brother, what
yeah.
do you want? And you can have it all. All
I think
right.
the I think the countdown clock on Ben Johnson, I believe it's about 2 years. I say 2 years because had we gone to the Super Bowl last year, probably would have
Nah,
took the head coaching job in Washington. That's just
I,
what
I,
coordinators
I
seem to
I think
do.
it's over this year. I
No,
think
no,
this is
I
it.
say that's why I say 2 years. I say 2 years because again, had he gone to the Super Bowl last year, he probably would have taken a head coaching job. You saw that happen with the Eagles and their coordinators after they went to the Super Bowl. Like it's kind of the flow. Him not getting to the Super Bowl and the loss in fashion in which it came in the NFC Championship game. I believe these next 2 years are just to groom himself on what to do and how to actually be settled. Like you don't know what you don't know. And I believe you're still seeing that week to week. Like, okay, yeah, you got a little egotistical against the Bucks in that
Bro,
week two, thinking you
teams
could
were
do something.
teams were interviewing Aaron Glenn.
Well, that's what happens when you win.
You know
That's
what
what
I'm
happens
saying? Like,
when you win. But again, to your point though about Dan Campbell, culture setter. This you see what happens when you're a culture setter as a head coach. Like
yeah,
you can put your people in positions to have head coaching jobs. However, they know the core nucleus of why the team looks the way it looks. You know,
yeah,
like when it comes to, again, when it comes to that offense, when it comes to that defense, like that culture is put there by Dan Campbell. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you know, So yeah, to your point though, man, I give it 2 years. If they don't get to the Super Bowl this year, depending on how they lose and what fashion, how it looks, he could be gone this year. I do agree with you there, but I think just in terms of no team is going to offer you life-changing money
Hey,
to
I
make you
think
make a decision you
things
don't want to make. Have you guys heard of Rueblur? It's a social media app that appreciates you, and it's also Black owned. Guys, this app is awesome. You get to customize your feed so you only see what you want to see when you open the app, and you get to enjoy a safe environment where racism, hate speech, harassment, bullying isn't tolerated whatsoever, while enjoying a fun, mannered, respectful discourse. And to be honest with you guys, since using this app personally, I've cut out my social media usage on other apps completely in half. I like to say this app is similar to if Instagram and YouTube had a perfect baby where everything you loved was in it and everything you hated was out of it. So guys, check out Rueblur, a social media app that appreciates you.
things will get choppy though the second we start having to pay the Gibbs, the Laportas, and the Williams. I think because you're saying okay, let's say we don't make the Super Bowl, but let's say we go deep playoff run again. Jameson Williams is going to want Brandon Ayuk money. You know, the Laporta, he's going to want at least Mark Andrew money.
But that's why
You
you
know,
look at Brad Holmes in the GM. That's our GM, correct?
yeah,
That's why you
yeah,
look at Brad Holmes in the GM. How do great organizations stay great organizations? You got to know when to move off guys and when not to move off guys. That's what
yeah.
his job
Because
is,
Hawkinson wasn't bad, but I like Laporta better.
And
And you got
again,
to know what guys to keep. I really hope that's the thing. You know what I said early on. I said Gibbs is going to end up being the odd man out, right?
but to
Because
your point,
out of all those positions, the one you can low key be right on is that running back. You know what I'm saying? Like hey man, you being able to do what you do, and if we're lucky, we might get. You know what I'm saying? How is Kamara still in this on the Saints? They had top receivers. They had a high paid quarterback. So you know what I'm saying? Maybe he takes a team friendlier deal or something. You know,
but maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just again to that point about Brad Holmes, and not to use Ayuk's words against him, but know what got you there. So when you at the end of the season look, okay, maybe we lost, maybe we won the Super Bowl and now people want money, or maybe we lost in the playoffs, people want money. Knowing what got you there is how you keep that organization together. Because again, when that's over, you're starting to look and find, okay, did Jamon have as big of an impact? Can we swap him out for a piece? Okay, Gibbs, maybe he needs, to stay and Montgomery needs to go. But okay, does that affect the nucleus? One thing people did say about Brad Holmes, especially at the draft, was about the Lions staff that was at the draft was, hey, these guys look like they're on target with what they're
yeah,
looking for and what they're getting. You know,
yeah.
they look like they're on target. So, you know, yeah, man, I think Lions got, some serious decisions in the seasons to come, but also too as a fan, that's why, man, you got to appreciate these years while they're here. If you're in Detroit, like you don't know, you would hope
But, hey, I
that.
will say this about the Lions before we go. Watching what they're doing with Jared Goff gives me hope for like a decade of like winning. Because you can get a Jared Goff. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're doing this and we got Patrick Mahomes and it's like, man, when he leaves, we're so fried. Like, it's like, nah, bro. If they announce tomorrow, like, Goff's done for the year, like I'm only taking away maybe 2 wins and saying Hooker's gonna get the 10, 11. Like, and I'm not saying Hooker's better than Goff. I just said there's gonna be less wins. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying like just looking at like what our staff is, I would trust who you pick. I believe in Hooker because y'all picked him. You know what I'm saying? If y'all told me like, hey, we're bringing in, and not Andy Dalton, we're bringing in, Sam Darnold. Hey, if y'all, because I saw Goff in his last year. Granted he was a little hurt, but you were playing. I saw Goff in that last year. I saw Goff when the interceptions started being real close to the touchdowns. Year one in Detroit. We all watched that, right? but this organization right now is really looking like I trust who y'all pick.
Well,
You know?
you know what their next pick will be for. It'll be for a mobile quarterback. Between Goff and Cousins and maybe one other quarterback, they're the last of just pure pocket quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Goff
right.
now, you see it this in this season, starting to move outside the pocket. Hell, sometimes I think he's forcing it low key just so they don't get the idea to move off of him. You know what I mean? Because that's important now, man.
Man, he ran some first downs.
The last first down, the one that mattered. Yeah, he ran
Yeah,
that, And again, I said this last year after they lost. You see, okay, you can't move. Like you can't move on third. You can't even throw it on a run. It looked bad. Again, him and Cousins, they're one of the last people that, are pure pocket. So I think the future would be a mobile quarterback, but I
yeah.
think Goff is
Which
going to try and
which
squeeze
is
out a
what
Super
is
Bowl.
sitting on the bench right now. Which was what was
Yeah.
on the bench as the backup last year when we had what's the name Terry Bridgewater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think they understand this offense. Like, because I also think about that. Like, our offense is like really like at its best with Goff, still tapping out at 80% potential because there's still that extra 20 of if this guy could, you know what I'm
Bro, if it
saying?
was Brock Purdy there, I would be like Super Bowl, like without hesitation.
Brock Purdy, of all the guys
With
name,
no, and I say that not to discredit
any guy.
Purdy
I know what
or
you
Golf in
mean.
any
Yeah, I
way.
know
It's
what
the
you
fact
mean.
that if you can be precise enough where you don't make the wrong reads, like you consistently make good reads and you
Yeah,
can consistently move the chains and you can consistently put the balls in your playmaker hands and you're mobile, what is stopping our offense? Like again, what did we point out as the biggest weakness? If they can get to the quarterback, that's the weakness. Like if they can put enough pressure on Goff, it is a completely different offensive. It looks completely different as an
yeah,
offense. It doesn't look as powerhouse.
yeah,
So it's like when I think about again, I say mobile quarterback. If it was Brock Purdy, hey, you see what he was doing in that Super Bowl. A lot of people can hate on Brock Purdy. Was what it was. That's what was it, 3rd and 15, and he threw to use check for that first down where he juked. I don't know if it was Chris Jones, but when he juked that defensive lineman right there just to buy a couple more seconds to make the one to throw it on a run. Pressure is the highest in overtime. One mistake, game over, and you complete the pass for a first down behind our O line, you would have more time. That guy wouldn't be there. That Chris Jones play that messed up the Juwan Jennings touchdown in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's Penei Sewell there. That's Ragnow there. That's Glasgow there.
yeah,
That's Taylor Decker there. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just saying, I'm not saying I would take Brock Purdy over Jared Goff in his current moment. What I am saying though is like a mobile quarterback that can match those stats would be something to argue,
yeah.
or at least think about.
I would take Brock Purdy, but only because of age. I think they're like the exact same, like far as level, but only because of age would I say Brock Purdy, and because I do believe Purdy's about to take a team friendly deal next year. I don't think he's going to go for 55, 60 million like everybody else. I
Yeah.
think Purdy, bro, I think Purdy would be cool. Like, bro, you could throw me 40 a year and we just call it, you know what I'm saying? Call it even Stevens and go about my way. Like,
Well, let's be honest. Is
I
he
think
not?
he's going to take the Brady route.
I agree with you. If
Yeah.
if under the chances they win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years, and I don't know if their team is capable of getting that done this year, and that may
I
make
don't I don't
everything
think they
seem
I don't think they're going to do it this year. I don't think the 49ers, I think their window with the whole Debo and Kittle and I think that window's
they
closed.
had a couple 100 million sitting on the bench against the Rams.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think they're going to revamp, and then I think Brock Purdy's going to take the new because I don't think they're getting rid of Purdy, right? Like
No, no,
unless
no,
there's like
no,
a
no.
magical like we could get Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Like I don't think they're getting rid of Purdy. You know what I'm
No.
saying? I
Yeah.
think he takes a team friendly deal. I think they revamp the team, get a new Debo. I think Ayuk's going to be the guy they keep from the old, you know what I'm saying? I think they're going to replace McCaffrey in the next year or two. Like, because McCaffrey's great, but we all knew eventually he had so many injuries in Carolina, that's going to start coming back up. He
Yeah.
was having a lot of healthy and a lot of workload. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And So, he got his pay raise. So, hey, all power to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and they're showing you, wait, we can do, yeah, what is his name? James Madison. You know what I'm saying?
Jordan
Mason,
Mason.
Jordan Mason. Yeah, man, he's going to get down there 100 yards regardless. You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, like I think they'll end up revamping in another year or two, and then that's Purdy will take that team. I don't think this team can do it. I don't think those guys that they've been to 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You
With three
don't
different
get,
quarterbacks
you know what I'm saying? You don't
or two
get that
different
many,
quarterbacks.
that two different. Yeah, you don't get that many chances.
Yeah.
You just don't. You
Yeah.
just don't get that many chances.
Yeah.
So they can't get rid of Kyle Shanahan. You should just never do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and I would keep Purdy, and like I would just revamp that team in another year or two, and trust in the having that core there. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but I think, like I said with the Lions, I think we're that kind of organization now. It's like, hey, the days of Goff are not like we see his age. I don't even want to see like if Goff gets bad, I don't want to see a bad Goff year. I want to
Facts.
see like, yeah, we started off slow, like a 1-4, and
Yeah.
we inserted somebody, and we ended up being like 9-7.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
And
saying?
you can see it now, and I don't want to say deterioration, but he's had an interception every game this
Every
season.
game. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. But I don't think that's age related. I think that's more so,
early season jitters.
you know what I'm saying? Early season jitters, and now you have expectation. You know what I'm saying? Like, last year, yeah, we ended the year good. Everybody's like, yeah, the what if Lions, right? No, now we, you got people on national TV saying, we got the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, Golf, you haven't had this expectation since like year 2, 3 of Rams with Sean McVay, you
Yeah.
know?
And even
So
then,
now
were you
that
really
that
expected?
expectation is really, really, bro. Come on, man. When the last time fans ran down a coach's house?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which, hey, fans, never. Come on, be real. But ran
Yeah.
down the coach's house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is you know what I'm saying? Guy got shot at Eastern Market. Tailgating. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Them expectations are real. Y'all
Belief is
can't just
there.
have a bad year. We can't go win 7 games. City will lose his mind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you have real expectations. So I believe that's what that has caused.
Yeah.
And they're clearly trying some different things, because why go into the red zone and not target Laporta? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Clearly they're trying some things.
Well, Porter does look banged up, and I see Wright in the game more than having more targets than Laporta. And Laporta caught a pass and immediately went to the ground afterwards, like, had to get, help off the field. So I think he's dealing with something that's unexplained.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah,
but
but I
yeah,
just
man.
gotta
Yep.